Welcome. Today we're going to be diving into and exploring how you can break free from ordinary thinking, or that ordinary generic way of living life, and really rewire your brain for extraordinary growth and learning to step into who it is that you're meant to be. So stick around, because by the end of this video, I want you to walk away with these 8 strategies that you can do that help you to just shatter any sort of limiting beliefs that you have, unlock what your true potential is, so that you can create more impact, have deeper, more meaningful connections, and that you can live a more fulfilled life. Now, these are strategies I'd teach you if we were working together one-on-one, if you were here in my office with me. And so it's packed with tons of actions, and ways that you can wake up from that ordinary and generic thinking, and enable you with the tools like reflections and meaningful exercises and a proven framework that rewires your brain for that extraordinary growth. So let me set the stage for this by asking you a few questions that may resonate with you. Like, have you ever felt like you're trapped in this maze of, your own making, where each turn leads you back to the same familiar patterns or limitations that you have? What if I told you that the walls of this maze aren't real? I mean, they're just constructed from beliefs and habits that, you can choose to walk away from, that you could choose to break down those walls. What would happen if you discovered that your ordinary life isn't your only option, but rather just a comfortable illusion that you accept as your reality? I know I felt that way, and it's one of the key stories and one of the grounding stories as a part of my book, The GIVER Method. My name's Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and author of this book called The GIVER Method. And one of the grounding stories in here is me waking up in the sea of cubicles where I worked and looking around and realizing I don't belong here. I've become a part of a larger corporate, machine that I don't want to be a part of, and that I'm wanting to make that greater, impact in the world. I'm wanting to do more with my life. I'm wanting to have people look at me and approach me differently than how they do right now. And so we're going to dive into that. Once again, these are all principles that are grounded inside of the GIVER Method, and I'll put a link in the description so that you can go get it from Amazon. It's a bestseller on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can get access to it. It will truly change your life and create more impact and all sorts of things like that in your life. Now today, we're going to show you how you combine that GIVER Method with this idea of a spark framework designed to help you to go from ordinary to extraordinary and transform your thinking and unlock all these extraordinary possibilities in your life. So think of it like Neo in The Matrix. For those of you who've seen The Matrix, you're about to be offered that choice. That blue pill where you stayed comfortable with the familiar patterns, or that red pill that Morpheus offered to embrace the truth of your potential and what you could go and do. Now, before we dive in, of course, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. We don't want you to miss out on any of the content we have about discovering, developing your gifts and superpowers, unlocking those, and creating more meaningful impact, because that's the whole point of the GIVER Method. If you're new here and you're like, you know what, I'm not even sure what you mean by GIVER Method. GIVER's an acronym designed to help people to discover and develop gifts and superpowers so that they can provide more value to those who are in their sphere of influence. And as they do that, they make every engagement and interaction discussion as eager and effective as possible so that they get those deeper, more meaningful relationships, what I call relationship riches. They can step into who it is that they're meant to be, make a greater impact in the world, live a more fulfilled life, of course. And when people discover and develop their gifts and superpowers and give them in that way, the universe always has a way of paying them back. And so you may have thought to yourself, how is it that other people succeed or get so far ahead in life? And a lot of it is because of the way they approach their life in the GIVER methodology, or the GIVER mentality of taking gifts and superpowers and giving of them generously. So once again, you can get access to the book. I'll put a link in it. I'll also put links to the website so that you can check out our newsletter or get onto our Impact Makers community, as well as if people wanting us to come speak on stage or be a part of a podcast. There's all sorts of cool things at thegivermethod.com. I'll include our links to the Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those places. So that way you can access us and find us in all of the places. Now, as we go through all of these, I highly recommend you grab a piece of paper, open up a note, because there's going to be a lot of action items that you can go do. And I recommend you do that so you can just jot down your thoughts as we go, so you could start putting those pieces into motion as quickly as possible. So with that, let's explore these 8 steps, these things that will help you break free from the ordinary and lead you to start, living that extraordinary life filled with, more impact, those deeper connections, and more fulfillment. So the first step, the first thing is that you have to question your reality. Questioning your reality means examining the assumptions and beliefs that shape up your daily experiences. It's about recognizing that many of your perceived limitations aren't facts, but interpretations that you've just accepted without challenge. It's This sort of a process that you're going to take yourself through where you question reality involves developing the courage to look beyond comfortable patterns and question whether they truly serve your growth and purpose. Now, this requires you to become an investigator of your own mind and examine the stories you tell yourself about what's possible. These stories often really do masquerade as truth, but are actually just learned limitations, that can really be unlearned and unweaved from your life. When you begin questioning these assumptions, you create space for new possibilities. And so you begin by creating that, create an audit of reality for yourself, and take time each day to examine one belief or assumption that influences your choices, and ask yourself, where is this belief coming from? Whether it's actually true or it's evidence that might contradict it. This sort of idea helps you to identify those patterns of thinking, thinking in a way that limits your potential. And then develop a practice for curiosity about your own thoughts and behaviors. When you catch yourself saying things like, I can't, or that's impossible, it's too hard, pause and challenge these statements. Look for examples of others who have accomplished it and what you believe is impossible. Or, in times within your life when you've surpassed even your own self-imposed limitations. And so look for what's those limitations that journal about them. Each day, document what are those limiting beliefs that you encounter, and then find the origin of what it could be, and then create the alternative perspectives to whatever that may be. People will think, I'm too old to start something new. My experiences, that can easily be upgraded into something like, my experiences give me a unique advantage for starting something new compared to others. And then create those weekly, what's your reality check, where you just examine the progress of challenging your beliefs. Sometimes you want to partner with someone who could help offer objective feedback on that and share insights and celebrate moments when you successfully challenge your old assumptions. Because questioning your reality is fundamental to all personal growth, because it breaks the spell of limiting beliefs. Until you recognize that many of the limitations are just self-imposed, you'll remain trapped with these boundaries that exist only within your own mind. And this sort of an awareness that you'll have will create that foundation for all other growth and transformation work that you try to do. It empowers you to take control of your own narrative and reshape your understanding of what's possible. By questioning your reality, you begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles, and potential where you once saw limitations. I promise you, before we even get into the other 7 steps, that by doing this, it will transform and change your life. I am a living example of that. The whole reason I wrote the GIVER method was seeing things within my own life from that moment of waking up and saying, what am I doing with my life? How am I living within this world? And within that frame of moving forward with this growth mentality, totally shifting how I approach everything, my life is transformed. My relationships have transformed. My finances, my energy, where I get to place my time and spend what I want to do has completely transformed from a very ordinary, locked in the day-to-day grind life to an extraordinary life that continues to grow more and more as time goes on. So I promise you that it will happen for you as well. So let's keep going. Let's dive into the next one. So the next one is, you have to shift out of autopilot. You're stuck in this autopilot, and that means that you're awakening from the trance of a routine and becoming consciously aware of your choices and their impact. You have to shift out of it and wake up from it. You gotta, like in the Matrix, you gotta take that red pill and wake up to what's real. Most people operate from default settings, following patterns that they've developed, over years without questioning whether these patterns serve for their growth. So this step, this idea, it involves disrupting your unconscious routines and bringing mindful attention to your daily choices. This sort of an awareness, it really does extend beyond just noticing what your habits are. It's about recognizing the just insane impact that small daily choices have in shaping your life's direction. When you operate on autopilot, you surrender control to just the patterns that you formed randomly or have been inherited from others throughout your life. And by shifting into a conscious awareness, you reclaim the power to redirect your life's intentionality. So you have to begin by looking for what are your pattern interrupts in your daily routine, those intentional moments where you pause and make the conscious choice rather than following the habit that you have. I recommend you start early in the morning by setting your intentions so you can plan out when you could do that or the ways you could do it throughout your day. So start with simple changes. Take a different route to work, rearrange your morning routine, choosing to respond differently to common situations. You rewiring and reprogramming your brain in that situation. Develop practices of mindful observation throughout your day. Set whatever those regular reminders are. It could be a phone reminder or a note on your computer, whatever that could look like, to check in with yourself about your current state, the choices you're making. Are they aligned with your goals, your values, your passion, your purpose? And if you're like, I don't even know what all those are, then go check out other videos on the channel where we dive into that. Having a heightened awareness like that helps you to identify opportunities for intentional choice where you previously just operated on autopilot. Now, shifting your mind out of autopilot, it is essential because unconscious patterns often maintain this ordinary, generic, bland thinking and limit your growth and potential. And until you become aware of those patterns, you'll continue repeating behaviors that keep you stuck in your familiar and limiting routines. This sort of idea, it creates that space for intentional choices that just align with what your aspirations are rather than your habits. And by bringing that consciousness into your daily decisions, you build this foundation for lasting change and really extraordinary living that continues to serve you long beyond that. Now, our third one that you want to look at is you need to embrace the growth zone, I guess is what we call it. The growth zone, the zone in which you're growing exists in that space between comfort and panic. It's where learning and development just naturally occur. It isn't about forcing yourself into overwhelming situations, but rather intentionally seeking out experiences that stretch you just enough to promote growth while remaining manageable to you. And it's a zone where your capabilities can expand and your potential begins to unfold more and more. This sort of a growth area and growth zone is dynamic and personal to you. Like what challenges one person might, have, could be something that overwhelms someone completely. Understand what your growth zone is. That your unique growth zone requires you to just be honest and have, some self-awareness and self-assessment and be willingness to push your boundaries beyond where you are, but do it gradually. And this step involves recognizing the difference between, productive discomfort that leads to growth and unproductive stress that leads to burnout. And so start by mapping out what those zones could look like. What's your comfort? Where's your growth? Where's that panic? And in each area of your life, identify activities and situations that fall into each category. Pay really close attention to the growth zone activities and make you slightly nervous but also a little excited. And these are the experiences that will push you to develop without overwhelming you. You can create these regular opportunities to step into that growth zone. That might be volunteering for new projects, initiating some difficult conversations, or learning new skills. The key is consistency. Small, regular steps into growth is way more effective than trying to do these massive leaps that people try to do that lead to burnout. Because embracing the growth zone is such an important part for real development to happen. It happens at the edges. Without regularly stepping into this space, you're going to remain, confident in those current limitations that you have and unable to access what your full potential is. This accelerates personal growth and creates a structured opportunities for development rather than waiting for circumstances to force change. You actively seek the opportunities to expand your capabilities and make a bigger impact. Now, our fourth one is going to be that you have to activate your gifts, which one of the big parts of the GIVER method, the G is gift, your gifts and superpowers. Activating your gifts and superpowers means intentionally recognizing and developing those natural talents that often go unnoticed in your daily life. Now, these aren't just skills you've learned. They're part of those innate abilities that energize you, that create value for others when you use them. Many people will downplay what those natural talents are because they come so easily, not realizing, that what's effortless to them might be really challenging for others. Your gifts, your superpowers operate like that personal power source. When you tap into them, it's like an energy and capabilities that feel natural and sustainable. This involves moving beyond passive awareness and to being way more active on the abilities for transforming them into superpowers that can create this extraordinary impact in the world. So begin by doing, I refer to it as a gift inventory. Pay attention to the activities that you lose track of time of, you receive praise on, where you solve problems with ease, where they energize you like crazy. These are going to be cues pointing you to, what your natural gifts are, and then create the opportunities to practice them regularly, treating them like a muscle that can grow stronger as you intentionally use them. And then seek feedback from others to see what they may say about your unique contributions. Often, others can spot gifts in us more easily than we can. We overlook them. So use that feedback to identify patterns and themes of how your natural gifts manifest and show up and impact others in the way that they see it. Your gifts and superpowers are unique, your unique contribution to the world, and are only generated and created because of your unique life that you've lived. When you actively develop these gifts and superpowers, you increase your capacity to create positive change and meaningful impact in ways that only you can. Now, it's not about ego. It's about the responsibility to use these talents and gifts and superpowers fully. Operate from your gift. When you operate from your gifts, you create that natural momentum for more sustainable growth. Instead of forcing yourself to fit conventional molds, you leverage your natural strengths to create extraordinary results with less effort and greater fulfillment to yourself. Now, our fifth one is design your environment for growth. Environmental design involves intentionally structuring your surroundings to support transformation and growth. Like a plant, when you plant a seed, it needs the right conditions to thrive. Your mind needs the environment that nurtures development and challenges your beliefs. It could be both physical, space, and the people you spend time with. Your environment, it has such an amazing impact, huge impact on the influences of your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors, often more than your willpower does alone. And by consciously designing spaces and relationships that encourage growth, you make extraordinary development almost inevitable rather than leaving it to chance. What you do is you begin by auditing your current environment for growth. What are the growth inhibitors or multipliers, catalysts that you have? Look at your physical spaces, your daily routines, the relationships you have, and identify elements that reinforce beliefs or ordinary thinking patterns. What are the ones that reinforce those limiting beliefs or ordinary thinking patterns, as well as those that could inspire growth and possibility. Use this awareness to make strategic changes. Create a growth zone of, what's the space, the situation that just naturally encourages your development. This could be reorganizing your workspace. It could be adjusting your morning routine or being selective about who you spend time with. When you focus on your environment, it makes growth the path of least resistance. When you focus on this idea of your environment, it powerfully influences your thoughts, your behaviors, your potential. And by intentionally designing it to support your growth, you create a foundation that just naturally elevates your thinking and actions beyond the ordinary. Strategic environmental design reduces the willpower needed for growth and just lets you go at it naturally. When your surroundings just naturally support development, you spend less energy fighting against them, those limiting influences, and more energy expanding your capabilities. Now, the sixth one is that you need to build a growth tribe. This consists of the relationships and connections that support and accelerate your development. This isn't just about networking. It's about creating that, the community, the tribe, the group that you have of individuals who challenge you to grow, support your vision, share your commitment to this extraordinary living. They act as mirrors reflecting the potential that you could have, and holding you accountable to it. It could be a mastermind group for personal evolution. It could be, online support group. These growth tribes provide diverse perspectives, emotional support, and practical resources. These relationships help you to see your blind spots, challenge those limiting beliefs you have, and celebrate progress you have so that you maintain the momentum. So you need to start by mapping what are those relationships you have now that could impact your growth. Some people naturally encourage development while others may reinforce those limiting beliefs. Use that awareness to make those conscious choices about where you invest your time and energy. Actively seek out growth-oriented relationships through shared interests or communities or professional groups, and look for the people who will inspire you. They challenge your thinking and demonstrate the kind of growth mindset that you want to develop. Focus on building deep, authentic connections rather than surface-level networking. Because I can tell you that personal growth accelerates dramatically in the presence of others who share that commitment to your development. I know from groups I'm a part of that have helped me grow just in ways you can't even imagine. These sort of relationships create positive feedback loops and, for your development. As you support others' growth, you reinforce your own commitment to development and you gain new insights that can fuel your energy to continue going. Now, the seventh one is that you need to create new things through service. Creating through service means that you're using your gifts and growing, through meaningful differences that you're making in others' lives. That's that generosity aspect we talked about. It transforms your personal development from a self-focused journey into that broader positive change that you're making. And when you grow through giving, you create, this virtuous cycle where your development can directly benefit others. This aligns perfectly with the GIVER method book, where your personal growth and service become inseparable to each other. And by focusing on how to develop, you can develop this, like you can benefit others, and then you also access deeper motivation and sustainability in your own growth. Look for those opportunities where, your growth, intersects with the needs of others, and develop, it could be that you're going through public speaking or video creation, or, all sorts of places. Like if your strength is in writing, create content that helps people. Like turn any sort of growth challenges into opportunities to serve. Regularly ask yourself, how can my current learning benefit others? And this question helps you to identify the ways that you could transform personal development into more meaningful contribution, and keep a running list of what those things are so that you know how the ways you can go back to serve others, and then actively seek opportunities to implement those new ideas. Creating through service adds deeper purpose for personal development. It transforms growth into personal, from a personal pursuit into contributing to a positive change within the world, making your journey more meaningful and sustainable. And so this helps to maintain that motivation during challenging times. It reminds you that your effort to break free from the ordinary thinking, can benefit not just you, but those around you. And then, of course, the eighth one, the last one is, embrace that red pill mindset. It represents this fundamental choice where you see reality as it is, not as a habit of, or fear that you've taught yourself to see it. Like Neo in the Matrix, like this sort of mindset requires the courage for you to question everything you've accepted as your normal and embrace the possibility of the extraordinary living that could come from that. This sort of a mindset involves recognizing that comfort, with ordinary patterns, is itself a form of self-imposed limitations. It's about choosing growth and truth over comfort and illusion, even when that choice feels, challenging or uncertain. So begin the day consciously choosing with growth over comfort. Face your, take your decisions, and ask yourself, am I choosing this because it's comfortable or because it serves my growth? And use that question as a filter for your choices and actions. Create regular red pill moments for yourself where you intentionally challenge your comfort patterns. And these moments might involve speaking up when you usually stay quiet, or taking on a project that scares you, or having the difficult, necessary conversations you have to have. Your choice to grow strengthens your own mindset. That red pill mindset is essential because it serves as that foundation for others' growth. Without the willingness to see and accept the truth and comfort, any attempt at transformation will remain just baseline and superficial. Like this sort of a mindset creates that sustainable change by addressing the roots of your ordinary thinking or tendency to choose comfort over growth. And by choosing the truth and development, you create that lasting transformation rather than temporary, that temporary change. Breaking free from any ordinary thinking isn't just about personal transformation, it's about unleashing your gifts to create more meaningful impact in the world. Through these steps we talked about, you learn how to question your reality, to shift from autopilot, embrace growth, and activate your gifts to design your environment in a way that is designed for growth, and create things through service, and have that red pill mindset. These are choices like Neo from the Matrix. Like, these choices are yours. Will you take that blue pill and just return to the comfortable patterns and that just generic way, an ordinary way of thinking and living? Or will you take the red pill and embrace these steps to create your extraordinary life of impact and connection and fulfillment? Now, remember, you can get access to the Giver Method book in the links down in the description. It will provide you the framework for discovering and leveraging your gifts for more maximum impact. You can find us at thegivermethod.com to learn more about how you can continue this journey. If this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might benefit from it, and leave a comment on which step you're most excited to implement first. So until next time, I'll just say keep growing, keep giving, and remember that the only limits that are truly bind us are the ones that we accept within our own minds. So take the red pill, embrace your potential, and step into the extraordinary life that's waiting for you. And with that, we will catch you in our next video. Have a great rest of your day.